Bomba-dee-da, 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 bomba-dee-da,
Hello, we're
Hey,
on.
we're on. Is this
We're,
thing on? Hello,
we're
hello,
recording.
hello,
Hello,
hello.
recording. Happy trails. Happy trails.
Uh, don't you
I'm
love
sure.
the
I'm sure
Atomic
they're
Punks?
singing in the background
Dude, the
as they
Atomic
fade
Punks, man.
away.
I think they're listening. The Atomic Punks are our
Well,
listeners. So
why
show.
wouldn't you? Why
I mean,
wouldn't you
hell,
listen?
that's what I'm wondering. Hey,
Yeah.
people, if you're out there, why aren't you listening?
Right.
Right. So why you tell some friends, pass it on. Here, we're going to be the number one fastest growing show in 2024. I don't know who Ed
Mhm.
Milet is, but we're going to surpass him. So
Ed. Yeah, he's a has-been. He's so 2023, isn't he?
God, I mean, what is this now? It's like January, third week, January.
Yeah.
Come on.
Come on. Come on.
Hey,
Here
bro,
we
happy
go.
trails. So I'm Matt Bynum. I'm a practicing dentist here in Greenville, South Carolina, and trying to figure out how to maneuver around this retirement thing that is in the back of our heads, and hopefully, as we encroach on that in the next few years, we have an avenue to continue to thrive and make some money. So, together with my cohort over here.
Yeah, Dr. Blaine McLaughlin, Robbins, Iowa. I just had some nice retirement chat with my brother out in Arizona.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, because he's he's a year older than me, and
I
he's
forgot that. I always think he's
on the
younger
edge. That's what everybody says.
I know.
Wait, I got to get my Botox redone, and then I'll look younger than him.
If you put your head a little bit more forward, it takes the hair off and makes you look bald. Keep going a little bit. Like if you get
What?
yeah, there it is.
What?
I need to do a filter. What would that look like if I just did the like here?
That would look awesome.
Look good.
That's what it would look like.
That's good. Good for
Awesome.
Hey, so that's awesome. So you got into a good conversation about retirement.
Yeah, we just talked about what we're doing and his a little bit of his plan and his wife's plan.
Yeah.
That's important, kids out there.
Yes, it is.
Having a significant other on board.
And you got to have some similar thought on this, or else.
You know what? That's really all this episode could be on, and we would be.
I
mean, that right there is gold. It's gold.
We could talk on that forever, and still probably not cover it all. But so that's good though. That's good they're talking about it. I had several people. I was with a bunch of dentists this weekend in Florida, and they heard Ann say something about my podcast, and they said, "You got a podcast?" I'm like, "What the hell's going on here?
Really?
You don't listen to the podcast? Are you kidding me?" So, here's the deal, folks. If you're out there listening, share this with your friends. Yes. I don't care if they're dental or not. Let's get this thing moving, because the whole objective is we're gonna grow together, and who the heck knows here? Maybe all of us will do some kind of a syndication this year together. Every single one of us.
Right. Hey, and a warm welcome to all your friends who are now listening.
Yes.
Thank you for joining in.
Yes,
and listen to us.
Enjoy, and you can send us questions now that you've heard us for the first time. So thank you, appreciate that. I was cracking up. I said, I think we had 38 episodes last year, and they said, what? Not one person knows. No wonder. But hey, Blaine and I like hearing ourselves talk, so it's great.
Yep, sure do.
We're learning a ton. Just we listen to ourselves. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing that we realize what we don't know. Does that make sense?
Yes, when you don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know. That's
for sure.
That's key right there too.
That's for sure.
So
for sure. Hey, so topic today, I think this is great. We're coming into 2024. We're moving into what is this, third week?
Something like that. Yep.
Third week of January. So, the new year's already passed, and you're starting to make your goals. We talked about goal setting last time. So here we are, 2024, and you've already set goals that says, hey, I want to get involved in some property. I want to get involved in multifamily real estate. I want to do some investing, because I know that this market that I've got my money put into isn't going to provide me enough for retirement. Is that true, Blaine?
That's been the case for me.
Yeah.
Can't say that about everybody.
No, not everybody.
everybody has different goals too, right? I mean, if your
That's
goal
right.
is just, if your goal is to sit around a house, you know, then do nothing when you retire, then you probably don't need to spend a lot of money.
Yeah. If your
But
job
that's
is to sit in the lazy boy and get fat and lazy, then I've already done that. So I
how's that
need to
working for you?
change. Yeah,
How's that
well,
working for
you can see. And so it's time to change that.
you?
But hey, so here's the deal. We're 2024. It's now time to start putting a plan together. So some things that we thought of are things to consider before you invest in real estate right now, because maybe we piqued some interest in the last couple of weeks and people are saying, hey, I've got a goal to get involved and
Yeah.
I'm going to jump in right now. So what are some things that we need to consider before we get invested in any kind of real estate? And there's several things to consider, right?
Oh yeah, sure.
I think the things to consider before purchasing any kind of property, we've come up with a few, and the simplest is just the supply and the demand that's currently out there.
Yeah.
So as we move into multifamily at this point, what do we know happened last year, Blaine?
Well, in real estate, there's some
Yes.
interest rate issues.
Yeah, there were some rate
Yeah,
issues, right, people?
some rate issues.
And I think everybody out there understands that. They know that, because I know that even in dental practices and independent practices that are out there medically, the numbers went dipped down just a little bit last year because people were a little bit concerned, a little bit scared. Rates were moving in the wrong direction. Nobody's sure what's happening. So yeah,
Yeah.
but let me tell you something. That didn't happen all over the place, Blaine.
Right.
They're still building like freaking crazy in Greenville, South Carolina,
Well,
brother.
yeah, yep. And they're still, and that's so one of the things that when you bring up this is supply and demand thing, last year there was a lot of supply brought on the market across the country in general. And that was all pent up from COVID. Everything was
Yes.
shut down for a year or two, and then finally it got going again, and bam, it went crazy. And a whole bunch of it was released last year. So you look at occupancy rates across the country, and they were down some because
Yep.
there was the supply got, is out there.
Yep.
Now, interest rates going up last year, the starts are way down. So over the next few years, the supply is going to dwindle, and the
Little
demand
bit
is going to go up.
up.
So demand goes up means higher rent rates.
Yes. And
Yeah.
if you're looking to get involved in the real estate game, just to investing wise, the other thing that's going to happen is as those rates start to decrease, then the number of apartment complexes and investment opportunities are going to skyrocket.
Oh, yeah.
It's just inevitable. Not, I mean, it's this is what we see on the forecasting on the market. This is what the professionals that we're paying attention to are kind of leaning and hinting at. Of course, nobody knows. Nobody can shake that crystal ball and tell you exactly what's going to happen here in the next few months or next year. But for all signs that we're looking at right now, the market is going to slowly change. It's going to move in our direction, and you're going to see all these properties that have been held and money coming bleeding out of these apartment complexes. These people are going to have to sell these properties in order to get out from under them the debt that they've gotten into. So when they do that, that leads a lot of opportunity for open apartment complexes and syndications. So these are the things we're talking about that you need to kind of be consciously aware of before you just throw your money at somebody,
Yeah.
And we'll probably get to a point here in the next few weeks, Blaine, where we should review the basics of investing in real estate once again. Things like you meet somebody, they ask you to invest. Do you know who it is? You've got to trust that team that's putting the deal together, not just, hey, Joe is my friend's cousin's sister husband, and he does real estate, so I'm just going to give him some money to do that. Well, you better have an idea of what you're giving money to before you just start throwing it around. And if you just like throwing it around, then I'll put my address at the end
Right.
of this
Yeah.
or my Venmo, and you can just throw it out there.
You can send it to Happy Trails, and
Yes,
we'll
we'll hold it. We'll hold it for
invest
you.
it in something.
We'll hold it for you in
Yeah.
some property in our
Probably.
names.
Probably
In our names. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you for that. But yeah, so the supply and demand, is the demand is high, is the supply high? Right now, there's not a whole lot of supply being sent our way, but I'm starting to get more and more deals kind of coming across. Are you?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You're starting to get
It's
things that are
again,
moving.
this year is going to be solid. There'll be a lot of options out there, I think. So
Yes.
We just gotta wait and find the right one. There's no,
Yes.
people always need a place to live, regardless of what the economy's doing. So, that's why one thing, real estate, multifamily real estate is such a good investment
Yes.
in both, in whether it's a bear or bull market or whatever, and you still gotta have a place to live. So, that's cool.
Yeah. Love it. The other thing to consider, I think that we kind of hinting on already here with rates is the time in the market. What are we seeing in the market currently? Is it up? Is it down? We're coming out of what we would essentially call a real estate recession, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
It's
Oh
almost
yeah.
a depression,
Yeah.
big depression, and you're starting to come out of that. So the timing of this particular market as we move through this year, I think, is going to be hot.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yep.
Don't take me at my word. I'm not an expert by any means, but I think it's going to be hot to
I
the
think it's,
point that someone's going to ask you, "Who's
oh, who's
got your
got your
money?"
money? Yep.
Got him. Got
Yep.
him.
We got it. We'll
Yep,
get it for you.
you got it.
But
So the timing of the market is the other thing. Now, whenever you do anything like this, there's obviously risk, right?
yeah.
There's risk reward in real estate. So, what are some things that we need to take into consideration, Blaine, for the risk of investing in real estate? What do you think?
Well,
We've got
obviously you gotta make sure the economy is where you want it, right? The stability of the economy is important. And
absolutely.
so where and that varies, obviously from region to region.
Yep.
And where are people moving?
Yeah.
And, are there job creations? If you're getting a lot of companies creating jobs, that's going to lead to a good economy. And just because somebody says the US is in recession or whatever, that doesn't mean that North Dallas is in a recession,
Or about anywhere in Texas. Are you kidding
or
me?
yeah, or Greenville,
Or
South
Greenville,
Carolina, or Robbins, Iowa, with our favorite restaurant, Lebowski's. That's
Lebowski's.
Lebowski's is never in a recession.
Nope.
They're always hot. But so
And if you're ever wondering if we're really, really, truly in a recession, just go to Vegas for a weekend. Just take a look around and tell me how much recession we're in. You'll
right.
be absolutely amazed that the money that's being thrown around. So it always makes me wonder: are we really in a recession, or
Who knows?
is
It
this fake
depends
is
on
this fake
it.
news? Is
It
it fake
depends.
news?
It depends on what people want to hear.
But you're absolutely right. The economic stability is one of the key factors you have to take a look at. And I think the crazy thing in that is, like you said, it's regional, because you can't just take, for instance, that the rates are climbing through the roof everywhere. The real estate's terrible. Well, like, I got to tell you something, dude. If you looked around in Greenville right now, you would absolutely go crazy with the amount of cranes, with the clearing of the land. They're building houses like crazy. But we're also noticing a little bit of a trend, and we talked about this last year in our cast. We're noticing a trend that there are not as many build homes for purchase. We're starting to see in our area some of these build to rent
Hmm.
subdivisions going up everywhere, because people have been hurt this last year. They don't have the ability to buy a new home, but they can certainly qualify to rent a new home, which in their mind, that's kind of the same thing.
Yeah,
So
you still you get a larger place, you get more of your own privacy, usually those have their own garages and stuff like that and yards. And so you still get that home feel that people want, and it's just easier to do because you don't need a giant down payment. And uh,
yeah, yeah.
so,
And if you're going to do that with homes, then obviously multifamily real estate apartment complexes are going up like crazy too. I don't know about in Robbins, but around here, last year the big shortage was, and the year before was the shortage is housing. We've got
mhm.
houses, but we don't have enough to put everybody in because they can't qualify. So what do? You build apartment complexes. You build these apartment complexes. They get in for rent that's half of what they would for a house. This is still going on here. I know it's still going on in Texas. It's going on in Florida. I mean, so this recession that hit us with these heavy rates still promoted building for a lot of people. People are still actively searching. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yep. So yeah, and obviously interest rates control a lot of this, not only the way people feel, because I mean the confidence in the economy, and like I said, we've talked about this last few months, is that interest rates are headed down. They haven't, they're steady right now, but all the professionals, all the experts believe that they're slowly going to decrease, which makes people comfortable and happy.
Yes.
And so that's, that'll it'll lead to more buying opportunities, I think. Just like I said, there's so many deals out there that they need to be refinanced or redone, and because their time's up and they can't do it because the interest rates are 3 times what they were when they originally had the loan. So those are the guys that are selling.
It's
And
really interesting because we talked a few weeks ago about capital calls.
yes.
I just heard this last week. There were several properties that are going out from some people that I know that they're going back and talking about capital calls
Mm.
because they are falling shy with the rates that are going on, and they've already invested the money into the capex to try to improve the apartment
So
complex, and the enrollments and the vacancies are up, so the money coming in is down, and they're down money. This is in this economy, it's a down economy. There's things that are going to affect the money coming in and out. So as an investor, especially as a GP team, the ones that's putting this stuff together, they're trying to figure out, how do we not foreclose on this property?
yeah.
We don't have any money. How long are they going to let us go by and minimize this payment? So, and the banks they're tired of doing that now. So they're ready to capitalize on their investments as well. And they're calling them on it. So what's happening is they're having to raise more capital to keep these apartment complexes in business. And I'm starting to I heard of 2 properties last week that were on the edge of doing capital calls, which is surprising at this
Hmm.
kind of late in the game. I thought, that would have happened already.
Well, that's one of the things that you need to consider again as we're in considerations on
Yep.
what when to buy is having the proper, or having a good amount of reserves. And again, no one could foresee what was to come.
No.
And so I would think people probably thought they had some good reserves 2 years ago, and now they don't because
Well, yeah.
they're having to use them.
So here
Yeah.
we are. We're 2024. People are like, hey, what? I'm going to get involved in a property. This is something I'm going to do. I'm going to jump in with this GP team, or I'm going to start my own deal, right? And here's some precautions that you need to take. These are things that you need to take into consideration. And Blaine, I think you hit on one of the top ones, is having ample reserves. I think if you don't create reserves inside of your deal, then you're going to end up on the other end having to be like, hello, can you guys put some more money in the fund?
Ah, and let's review what reserves are.
Yes.
I mean, we say that because we know what it is, and they're just kind of like,
Yeah. So
But what? Go
what
ahead.
are they?
You go.
Reserves are basic. I'll tell you. Reserves are basically what you think they are. The reserves is money. It's money that's sitting inside of a fund that is there to handle things that you're not necessarily thinking are going to have to be paid by the complex. Period. That could be some additional
Unforeseen
capex,
events. Yeah.
unforeseen events. That could be some. Well, the interest is one of the things that's killing everybody because the rates have gone in and changed. It might have been no interest payments for the first 6 months, and now those things hit. Well, the rates went up. They weren't fixed, so now they've gone up, and wow, that's more money than I thought I was going to need to spend. Or this capex program, we only allowed X amount of dollars, and it took X plus Y, and we need some Y. So these are unforeseen costs that have to come into that. So
Insurance has gone sky high too in a lot of
yep,
places.
insurance is big.
I mean, people are paying 2 to 3 times what they were 3 years ago
Yep. And
for
think
insurance.
about what just blew through Texas, that cold snow crap like that. Those they don't do well with that stuff. You know what I mean? And hopefully you've got a complex that can withstand something like that that doesn't require fixing, because what would happen then? You've got to come out of pocket for that if you don't have it in reserves. So reserves is exactly what you think it is. It's having extra money sitting around to recover and pay for things that are unforeseen. So it's not a bad deal at all for you to be one of the principals in the GP team to develop a reserve account for each of these particular deals. And at the very end, if it's not distributed into the complex, then it gets redistributed amongst the investors. So remember, investors in most deals, the LPs, are the ones that are getting paid first. So as long as you can distribute the money, then it's never a loss for that particular money's put into reserves. So I think ample reserves is one of the things. I think the other thing that I would consider if you're going to take on a deal in 2024 would be conservative underwriting. And I think we talk about this too. You know, everybody talks about, I think my numbers are conservative. Well, how conservative are they? I think we've looked at some deals. That deal that we looked at on the analyzer with everybody last year, Blaine, that wasn't very conservative. There was some stuff that was hidden in there that was a bunch of
Yeah.
BS. So not conservative at all. Somebody, I mean, I think everybody, I'm trying to think at any deal that has been pitched my way, have I ever been told anything other than this is
Conservative underwriting.
conservative? Yeah, I'm thinking,
Look at, we
no,
have some
this is
conservative underwriting.
yeah, we've got some conservative underwriting.
But you
So
got to be able to prove that. If you're going to say that, and the next deal that we pitch to people, we're
Yeah.
going to say we have conservative underwriting.
yes,
I mean,
because we
we'll
do.
do it because we will. But why? How is that happening? Why you know, what's conservative? Are they predicting rent increases at 3% a year? Is that
Yeah.
conservative? I don't. In
Yeah.
Iowa, that's
Yeah.
not. I mean, you're looking at 1% a year. In Texas and Florida, where everybody's moving to, and the demand's higher, yeah, maybe you're looking at 4 and 5%. So again, you got to figure out what, when they say conservative, what do they mean, and how are they backing that up?
Yep. And that could be across the board, regardless of where you're at. It doesn't have to be Dallas, doesn't have to be
Right.
Iowa, it could be anywhere. But you know, and another thing to consider in that when you're doing conservative underwriting is when was the property handed over last, and what did they do last? You know what I mean? So let's just say that in our property that we have, that we're going to sell the property VDO, the one property that Blaine and I are both in. So we're going to sell VDO, and it's now been 3 years. So we've done all of our capex that we can, and we sell VDO at 3 years. Well, you have no idea what we did to those rent rates at that particular time. So if you come in and say, well, we're going to be conservative, or we're going to raise rents, 3 to 5%, 3 to 5% in that 3-year period of time could still be very high, especially for a certain area in San Antonio, Texas. So you got to be able to keep that in consideration. And that's where the word conservative comes in. So conservative underwriting, actually very key. What's another one, Blaine? What do you think?
Well, obviously interest rates are the hot topic, right? So you got to make sure you have
Huge.
the right debt, and that's we talked about that a few months ago as well. We talked
Yep.
about how deals can be structured, what kind of debt you can have,
Yep.
and there's so many options, and we also talk about got to have proper relationships, right?
Yep.
And
With
good,
your
solid
brokers,
relationships.
with your brokers, with your
So,
bankers.
yeah, the guys that are giving you the loan, if you have a good, they can work for you. They can say, hey, let's do this.
Who's got your money?
Let's do that. How about if
Yes.
we do that? And a lot of it's negotiable. So you can't just let them dictate everything. Again, if you have a good guy that's helping you out, or they'll compromise. And so these loans and this debt will can be altered, and again, there's a million different ways of putting those together.
Yep. And I think you're absolutely right. It's and dependent on the bank too, because some of these banks, they might have been hurt in the process in the last couple of years. They secured with a certain type of loan, and it came back, and maybe it kicked their butt on the other end, and they had to make some major adjustments. So they pulled those off the table. I think the right kind of debt for your particular deal and your investors is crucial. I mean, I hate to even think of what would have happened had we secured a variable note on what we had just closed, and that market, crapped the bed.
Yeah.
And rates would sky. I mean, could you imagine if we didn't have that? If we didn't have that protection, that would be a terrible thing.
Right.
Especially if we didn't have a cap rate in place. That would have been a
terrible
thing.
A rate cap.
Rate cap. That would have been a terrible thing.
That would have been crazy.
Yep. So I think those are probably the most prominent things that I think of.
And of course, who are you getting involved with, right?
Yeah. Well,
who's the GPs? I mean,
that's a given.
You say obvious, but if let's say you're one of the 14-ish dentists that's listening to this for the first time,
yes,
maybe they don't know that. That's why we keep saying it over and over and over again. You got to know who you're investing with, what their ethics are. I mean, what kind of person they are. And,
Yep.
you know,
Well, repetition is the second law of learning.
repetition. Yeah.
Second
Yeah.
law of learning.
Yeah. Second.
The first law of learning, you might ask me.
Hey, Matt, what's the first law of learning?
It is recognition.
Recognition.
Recognition is the first law of learning.
You got to recognize that you need to learn something.
Recognize.
Is that a song?
I
Or
don't know.
did you?
Sound-
Or did,
Sounded good. Sounded good.
uh,
Who the hell knows? Hey, so anyway, that I think that's a good little tidbit for
Yep.
today. I think what do we have in store for everybody in the coming weeks, Blaine? Do you think we should kind of go back and do kind of a recap into, if you're new to this, here's some things, but maybe do a speed through?
Good. Yeah.
I want to
That's
do another
again.
analysis
Yeah, we'll wait
on
on
the
that. Let's
on
wait
the
on that.
analyzer. Wait on that one.
Let's wait on that. Unless
Okay.
something comes this way this week that, I mean, I've had actually a lot of land come at me,
Yeah.
you know, empty land saying, hey, this is zoned for development or whatever. And are you interested? And I'm like, I don't know that much, but I am in that deal that, build to rent down in Texas. So
Yeah.
with our friends. So I'm trying to do what I can to learn. And we'll keep you updated on that. Basically, I was always thinking, you know, in Iowa, I'm like, well, now that it's the middle of winter, you can't do any construction. Well,
that's
you
not
can
good.
in Texas. Isn't
You
that
can
great?
in Texas, yeah.
Hey. So they started on, they had some old buildings to tear down. I think that's done. And now they're starting the grading process where they gotta, you know, level everything and make sure to get all the sewage in there and water lines and electrical and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And streets boards. So that's where what's going on with that right now.
Well,
But
and just to keep you up to date, everybody that might be listening, has been listening to us, is I mentioned before that got involved in a land development deal where we're putting 28 houses on top of that, and that particular project is moving forward. We're paying. So again, this money that is on the front end of it, paying the engineers to do all these things, this is all happening right now as we're negotiating with the bank. So we're negotiating with the bank to create leverage loan.
nice.
So pretty soon we'll be opening this up to some investors who want to come in and maybe take a preferential return within a year. And that's going to be kind of cool to be able to offer some people if they want to do that. But this project is moving forward. I mean, it's crazy how these things start coming at you. It's not multifamily real estate, but it is real estate. It's land like you're talking about. And land is going to create other things, housing, duplex, maybe multifamily apartments, who knows? But one of the things that we've learned is, don't put all your eggs in one basket, right, Blaine?
Right.
Diversification.
Diversification. That's why we have lots of different things to invest in. There's different options out there. I mean, you know, we talk about the stock market and how it isn't been a friend of ours. I still have money in the stock market though.
Yep.
You know, I'm not going to take it all out.
I want
But
I
well, maybe
so
I
want
will.
to.
Maybe I will eventually. We'll
I
see.
want to.
See how
But you
this
gotta have a
goes.
little variety. Like, like you could
Yeah.
have a dark beer, and you could have
Yeah.
a lighter beer, or a pilsner, or an
Or a
ale,
hoppy
or a hoppy
beer.
one. Like, I'm looking at your shirt and I just see,
Yeah.
as you come across, it's
You know, there's a lot of different crafts.
there's a lot of options.
A lot of variety there.
Variety.
Yes. It makes me exciting
Yes,
and
you are
interesting.
exciting.
I'm the,
You're
kind of one of those interesting mans in the world.
you're the most interesting man in Robbins, Iowa.
Maybe I could be.
In Robbins, Iowa.
I mean, prove it wrong.
I
If you don't believe what Matt just said,
Yeah,
then
prove it.
prove us wrong.
Prove it. Drop the mic.
Don't break it. Don't break that mic. Those are expensive.
Don't break it. Those are. Hey. So that's it for today, folks. Happy trails. We'll see you next week.
Right on.
Arrivederci.
What?
Hey, you're learning
What?
some Spanish, aren't you?
Yeah.
What did you learn anything new this week?
This week, I learned, let's see, what did I learn about?
Come on, give us something.
I'm learning how to talk to your cousin and your aunt
Your
and
tia?
uncle.
Your tia? And
Tio?
tio?
Yeah, Tio. El Tio, La
Tia
Tia,
and
yeah,
Tio. See,
I see it, and then yeah, so I learned some family member things.
what's cousin? I can't remember that one. Is
It
it
starts with a P.
P?
Pet.
Cousin?
No, that's not it.
What
uh,
is it? I can't.
oh,
Oh, it's been so
seriously.
long.
Well, see, and again,
You just went through this like 2 days ago. You can't remember it?
I wasn't. No, I did this. I'm off and on here. There's as far
Blaine
as
is learning Babel, language by Babel, right?
right
Babel,
on. Yeah,
dude, I
yeah.
love it. I love it.
Hey, English to Spanish. See, I'm looking at cousin,
Cousin.
prima,
Oh, primo and prima.
prima, and primo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. I see. I forgot that. It's great.
Well, now you learned something today. It's a good day. We'll leave you with that, everybody. Happy trails. See you
Happy
next
trails,
week.
everybody.
Who cares about the clouds when we're together? Just sing a song